What's up guys, Nick Rapazzi here. Welcome to the Paradise C6 YouTube channel. So today we're going to be working on the Datsun. I want to focus on getting the roll cage in, and like I told you guys, I didn't want to continue with the rust repair on this because wherever there is rust where the mounting place is, I'm just going to be cutting it out and building the pedestals from scratch out of this. I'm not even sure what gauge it is, but it's fairly thick, probably like 1/8 inch thick steel plate that came with it. I'm going to build the 4 main boxes off of that. One of the boxes is going to be right in this area. I think I'm going to do something off the top here and cut the actual roll cage down. It's probably about 4-5 inches longer than it actually is going to need to be, because it's going to mount right on top of here. And then with the front boxes, we're going to build some sort of box coming up right off of here to tuck these in as close as we can to here. But I want to get the main hoop mounted up and get it where it is. And all of this stuff is just going to be tack welded in. So when I build the boxes, I'm going to just tack weld them in. So this way I can remove it, at least be able to drop down the roll cage about 4 or 5 inches. And then I'll be able to weld in the main hoops and the top part to the A-pillar bars here to the main hoops as well. So this way you basically just drop the whole roll cage down and you're able to weld it fully. So this way it's nice and tight. Then we'll slip fit it in there, weld it onto the boxes. But not sure if we're gonna get this all in one video. I'm gonna try really hard to get everything mounted up and get everything where it needs to be. I do have the hole saw and everything set up over there. I might have to move it from where it's mounted, but I can move the toolbox that it is mounted to so we can cut the notches so it fits perfectly up against the roll cage here. So that being that, I'm going to start by tacking in these boxes, and I'll throw you guys into a time lapse and we'll get both sides done. This way we know how much we have to cut off the roll cage for this to be a super tight fit. Because one thing with this, I bought a dimple die kit, so this way we can make plates along the roll cage here, up top, and do like corner plating. And this way we're gonna give this thing a hell of a lot more structure than it did before, because this is basically a unibody car, and I want to give as much rigidity to it as we possibly can, because it is a almost 50-year-old car and there's no safety features on this thing, and we're going to be throwing almost 2 to 3 times the amount of horsepower that it did have. And knowing me, I'm going to end up twin turboing the VQ and trying to shoot for something like 500-600 horsepower out of that thing. So super excited, but that's the game plan for today. Get the roll cage in, get everything set up, and get everything ready to do more rust repair, because we have a shit ton of work to do back here with the rust repair. But today we're focused on the roll cage, so let's get to it. guys, so again, this is taking a lot longer than it normally would. I don't know if you guys saw when I was doing this plate right here that I made. When I made the plate that fit in there, it was blowing out the sheet metal that was there. So I welded in the plate fully, and then I put a plate right over on top of it just to make sure that none of that is going to be blown out or anything like that. Everything on the inside is spray painted, so at least the metal on the inside will be protected. It is sealed in, so it shouldn't rust from the inside out. And then we have the box right here. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing on the other side, and as you guys saw, there's only 2 tack welds, one right here and there holding it in. So this way I could break that off, and when I want to fully weld the roll cage, we can drop it down. So it is getting late. I'm not going to film me making the other side because it's basically the same process but just on the other side. And we're probably just gonna end it here. So we come back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the final fit and finish of the hoop and getting installed, and then we'll do the halo and the A-bar. So this whole video, I want at least the main structure of the roll cage in, and then when we start adding stuff in the back and fixing metal in the back areas, we're gonna fix the metal as we install the roll cage. So super excited as far as we are. I'm gonna go finish the other side, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow. What's up guys, day 2 here. So we have both side pedestals tack welded and put together, so this way the main hoop can mount up where it needs to. And right now I'm just fitting this in and trying to hold this up and get it mocked up as close as I can to the hood up there. This way I can trim some off and get a better cut. I am going to cut this long because I don't have another one, and I really don't want to do any sort of like sleeve work on this thing. So the key to this is just going to be holding it up where I need to, cutting it maybe an inch longer than it should be, get the final angles and measurements, because the way this roll bar here is going to sit in, it's going to sit at an angle because I want it to match this door seam right here. So this way the bar sits right behind this door seam, and to try to hide the roll cage as best as I can. Of course you're going to see it, it's going to be painted an off color, so you're going to see it on the backdrop, but I just want to keep it out of the driver and passenger's way, and the best way to do that is just to tuck it up as high as you possibly can. So we're gonna measure off where we need to. I'm just gonna eyeball it, draw a line, cut it flat, and then we'll see where we need to make adjustments from there. So put you guys down, get this cut up where it needs to be, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right guys, so we have the main hoop in, cut to where I need it to be. There isn't much of a gap. There's maybe an 1/8 inch gap, and that's just be getting the angle right, which is totally fine with me. This isn't gonna be like a crazy drag race car where everything needs to be to spec. I just want something that's a little bit more safe. But the reason why I did this off camera is this took me probably, I don't know, an hour, hour and a half to set. Didn't want to just time lapse me putting in this main hoop here. And this is gonna set the table for everything else. So this is gonna make where my main hoop goes, my hoops coming straight down for the front, then we'll do the dash bar and then the door bars, and the X bars in the back are gonna have to wait until I get the fuel cell, because I want to set the fuel cell, do some metal work back there, get everything positioned before I start welding it in. So that'll be one of the last things that we do. But since this is going to be pretty much final welded in after this, I am going to paint the top. I am going to rhino liner everything afterwards, but I do want to get a just coat of Pour 15 on every exposed metal in this car, just to seal it in so we don't get any more rust or this doesn't rot away again. So this way everything's just sealed, all the metal will be good to go, and then we're gonna hit literally everything except for the roll cage with some Raptor liner from Amazon. I've seen a lot of YouTube truck videos on it, and it seems like durable, good stuff. And I just want everything rhino line just to give it some texture, give it a different look, and give it a strong base. Because if it's good enough for a truck and all that kind of stuff, it's good enough for whatever you're gonna throw inside of a car. So yeah, so I'm gonna get the main hoop measured up, and I'll time lapse this and get the angles cut that I want to get it to fit right up to this hoop. And we'll get that put in and then start working on the downward bars. So let's get to it. halo basically mounted up. I had to use a ratchet strap to get this thing to stay up because it's impossible to hold it up with one hand. And the angles that I cut, I got them basically where they need to be. As you'll see, there's this, let me get the light for you. There's this giant gap in the front, and it's just because I cut it at a straight angle to get the rough measurements. And it's still, if you look at here, like I still want it to go up and in a little bit. So it still has to go back, which is actually perfect for what we need. I just have to cope this side on both of them a little more. As you guys can see, it's super tight here, but you got a gap on this side. So we're gonna close up this gap on this side and just trim the outside on both of these basically cuts right here. So we'll get these all trimmed up, get this snug real tight. I really want to keep this to flush, no more than like an 1/8 inch of a gap, so it welds fairly decent. I did have to move the mounting position here because I noticed when I was doing this, the right side was a little high and it was hitting this lip that's on here for this brace bar that's going across, and I want it under it. So now we're under it on both sides. This is pushed back as far as it'll go. This is meeting up perfect. I just have to cope this, and then we can tack weld this in so it could just stay there. So let me pull this out. I'm not gonna do this on camera because it's gonna be me grinding until I can get it to the proper angle that I want. And then we'll get this in, tack weld it in, and then start working on the A-pillars, and we'll be done for today. Super excited how far this thing's coming, so let's get to it. All right, guys, so we have the halo welded in, just tack welded. It's still being held up by the strap I have here. And I'm starting to cut the A-pillars here. I just cut this one down just to fit a little bit better. And I'm gonna build the pedestals right off of this lip right here just to come out. Again, I just want to keep this as close as I can out of the way of like the pedals and where my feet are going to be. So keeping it up and on this, I'm going to use this little square right here. So once I figure out where I want it, and then I'll box this in. I'm actually going to cut this a little bit shorter too because it doesn't need to be that wide. I cut this at 3 inches. I'm probably going to bring it down to about 2.5 just to keep everything out of the way, because this pipe is only 1 3/4. So I think 2.5 will give me enough on all sides for it. So I'm gonna end the video here because it is turning into something that's gonna be a little bit longer of a process, just because when you're getting crazy angles like this, it's hard to just get that done quick and be done. I'm gonna come back and probably do this about 10 times before I get it right, where I get it like those, where the angle's fitting just perfectly and everything's lining up perfectly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Part 2 will probably be around, I wanna say this weekend. I'm gonna try to finish up the roll cage on Sunday and then get back to doing all the metal body work that we have to do in the back, because we do have to cut out a lot of metal in the back, especially in that area where it all got rusted out. And then I'm going to source a new, I don't know, it's not the whole quarter panel, but that corner right there, I'm gonna see if I can buy that. If not, I'm gonna try and make it. It's gonna suck to try to make that, so hopefully we can get that and fix this rust repair here too. So we'll get right back into it. Hopefully, I say another like 2 weeks and we'll have this thing ready for paint, and it'll work out perfect because the Corvette, the motor will be done for that. We could throw that back in, start getting some content with the Corvette, and then mix in this as we go along too, because I'm not in any big rush because it looks like it's not gonna be done until the springtime. So again, I'm just gonna take my time with it. I wanted to get it done in the next like month or so, but there's just no point in rushing it when I can take my time, fix everything right, and get everything done. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button. If you got any questions whatsoever, drop in the comment section below, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.